Welcome to the Planning for Life podcast with certified financial planner professional Russell Jacobs and financial life advisor Carl Coolidge. Carl and Russell will share creative strategies and ideas for overcoming challenges in your personal and financial life. Inevitably, life happens, and we will empower you to reach your destination. Thanks for joining us. Now, on to the show.
Hello and welcome to episode number 3. Today we're interviewing Carl Coolidge. Now, every notable financial services practice in the United States has something that's truly unique and different, a process, a system, an offering that other financial services firms don't offer. And today we're going to highlight one of those with Carl, and it's called the secure process. This is a very, very interesting way to take a look at retirement plans, and we're going to dive into that much more deeply. So, Carl, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Matt. Glad to be here again.
Well, let's start with the history. Where did this whole idea of secure come from? Just give us some backstory.
Well, years ago, as part of our practice, we had a focus on health insurance, small groups, individuals. And as that world began to change, as we all know quite a bit, we wanted to exit that business. So we really realized that we wanted to have more of a positive impact on individuals, and helping retirement plan participants really made a lot of sense for our practice because we do a lot of individual money management, and this is just an extension of that in our mind. So born out of that process or thinking we wanted to move into retirement plans, the thing that I noticed was there didn't seem to be a clearly defined process for plan sponsors to manage their retirement plans, not only in general, but in a compliant and fiduciary manner, while also providing their participants with robust or very quality education. So that is where this secure retirement plan process was originated from. And I got it trademarked, went through that process, which is very involved because that's how much I believed in it. And we found that most retirement plans just don't have this clear process in place, don't know how to effectively manage it, and that's why Secure was born, and we felt so passionate about it.
So you answered my second question a little bit there, which is where it came from. And it really came from you finding a need and looking at the competition and noticing that the competition wasn't really offering all of the different systematic step-by-step processes that were needed in order to really service a retirement plan. Is that fair?
Yes, that's correct. And as I mentioned previously in the transition, part of what I wanted to do also was be very informed and knowledgeable for our clients on retirement plans, because if we were going to make this move, we wanted to be very good at it or one of the best at handling retirement plans. So I invested a lot of time and money into industry-specific designations. So in 2005, I received my first designation, which was the AIF, or Accredited Investment Fiduciary. This is really focused on the retirement plan world, on having prudent processes and procedures for managing your retirement plan. And then in 2012, I received my CKP designation, which stands for Certified 401k Professional, which is a very rigorous course, comprehensive exam, done in collaboration with the UCLA School of Management. And this is a little different than the AIF in that it focuses on more technical competency and a focus on maximizing those retirement plan outcomes for participants. So again, back to your question, where did it originate from? This is part of that process, in that we wanted to be very knowledgeable in these areas before we began rolling this out to prospective clients.
Well, it's wonderful that you have taken time to get advanced education, which many financial advisors just kind of rest back on their laurels and their experience. But not only with the secure process, but also with advanced education, you've taken it one step farther. Now, let's talk about how is this process used?
Well, typically, when we meet a prospective client, we walk them through our secure retirement plan process. So really for two reasons. So they understand what their roles and responsibilities are as it relates to the retirement plan. Because as I mentioned earlier, a lot of companies or plan sponsors don't understand what is expected of them when they manage a retirement plan. I also go through this process so they understand what our roles as the advisor are going to be and what we provide and the value we bring on an ongoing basis. So again, the whole goal of Secure is to have a process to effectively manage your plan, to educate your employees, and make your life easier.
Well, let's talk about what it stands for, because I'm sure our listeners by now realize that we're talking about Secure as an acronym. So what do each of the letters stand for?
Okay, I'll begin with S, which stands for study. And really that means we're studying the needs of your organization. And the driving question that I want to know is, what is important to you? Is it your plan participants, your employees? Is it managing your fiduciary responsibility? Is it the investments in your retirement plan? It can be one or all of those. And so we really want to understand what is that important element to you. The E is explore. We assist you in really determining what opportunities there are to improve your plan, what education opportunities exist inside your organization. So we're really focused on where we can improve your plan and help you really understand new laws that may be out or new safe harbors that may be available. The C is compel to action. So a lot of people procrastinate, as we all know in life. And so we want to help compel you to make a decision. So we're exploring other potential vendors or retirement plan providers. We're reviewing the asset allocation of the plan. We're looking at where your participants' monies are invested. Again, all of this plays into making your plan the most beneficial to you and your employees. The U is then for understanding, and this goes really the heart of that fiduciary process. Define the roles and responsibilities, what you need to be doing on a daily, monthly, annual basis to make sure you're operating your plan in a very efficient manner. And we assist in helping you figure that out and with those clear processes and procedures. The R in Secure is for retain employees through ongoing education and what we call our 4R strategy, which is helping you recruit, reward, retain, and retire your employees. So happier employees make better employees, which in turn is predicated by having a good, successful track for retirement. And then the E is evaluate. So this is really the ongoing strategies, ongoing monitoring of your plan. We make sure, again, the focus of your employees on their retirement readiness, and also just making sure that your plan is always competitive from a cost, benefit, structure standpoint.
You keep using the word fiduciary. Would you mind just explaining a little bit more of what the fiduciary standard is and why it's so important to have somebody who has that mindset, who has that education when it comes to training?
Well, fiduciary is talked about in a lot of different ways, but really there are two main points. It is to have a prudent process for how you handle things, and this just happens to apply to the retirement plan. So it's making sure that you are doing things in a very systematic, organized fashion, that you have processes and procedures to handle that, and that you consistently follow it. The other part of fiduciary is doing what's in the best interest of your client. There used to be a different definition that was used in our industry, but with laws that passed recently, now you have to have the best interest of your client in mind.
Okay, hold on, Carl. Shouldn't you guys have always had the best interest of your clients? Why is that a law now?
Absolutely. We couldn't agree more. We thought it should always be that way, which we always operated in that way. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, as in any industry, you have a few bad apples who cause problems for everyone. And so We're happy the rule was passed. We think it's fantastic. We want to operate in that fiduciary manner with our clients because in our mind, they always are first, and then we'll find the solution after that.
Who benefits most from this? During your explanation of what Secure stood for, it seemed like there was a little bit of a two-pronged approach. It had somewhat to do with the employer specifically, but then there was an employee part of it. So who benefits most from Secure?
Both.
Okay.
Again, we look at it from two components as you've referenced. We have the high level where we're working with the plan sponsor. And when I say that, that's typically the owner of the company, if it's a small business, the CEO, executive committee, if it's a larger company. And we're working at that point more of the 30,000-foot view of making sure the funds are competitive, making sure fees are in line, making sure we have all of these processes and procedures in place to effectively manage the retirement plan. Part B of that is the education process, which is something we're very passionate about, where we meet with each employee on a one-on-one basis and allow them to ask those questions that they want to understand about the retirement plan. Because again, a lot of this is foreign to individuals. As we tell everyone, if you put me in your job for one day, I probably can't do it either. So why should we expect you to know everything about investing or a retirement plan? So what we're trying to do is sit with them one-on-one, let them express their concerns, and then we can help them really get on track or have a good track to run on for retirement.
You also provide education too. That's another component of this that you did touch on, but we didn't really dive into a little bit more deeply. But I'd like to. I know we're going to break down so all of our listeners understand. We're going to do future podcasts on Secure and really break down each of the steps and the rationale for why they're there and how important they are. Carl just really did a 30,000-foot kind of flyover, but you just said two things that are very big differentiators, in my opinion, just from a listener's perspective and a person who participates in a 401k. One, that you provide education, and two, you just said that you sit down with people? I mean, that's not normal, is it?
No, it's very abnormal. And again, when we got into really focusing on retirement plans years ago, that's part of what we wanted to do, not only because we're passionate about it, but we also understand that if you can meet with employees in small groups and one-on-one sessions, they're going to be much more open to what their feelings are or what their level of knowledge is when it comes to the retirement plan. So we've had very, very good success with getting participation rates up, getting asset allocations in line just by providing them information and spending that one-on-one time. And again, all of this is a driver for sort of the end of the rainbow, which is retirement. We want them to have a successful track to run on.
You've also done studies talking about employee engagement, employee retention, because we know the better benefits that you offer your client, or I'm sorry, your employees, the stickier the relationship is. Is that fair?
Yes, they've looked at, a lot of studies that show if you have a employee who is not worried about retirement or does not have financial concerns, they're a much happier, more productive employee in your organization. So having a successful plan, having an employee who's as educated as they want or can be about the retirement plan allows them to focus less on if the Dow Jones or the market is up today or tomorrow. It allows them to focus on the job that they're tasked to do every day.
If your retirement plan doesn't have a process like Secure, what should our listeners do, either business owners or employees?
Well, obviously they should call us. I mean, that goes without saying, because I think we can certainly help them or obviously, provide them good counsel or a benchmarking process so they understand where they stand with their retirement plan. But I would say you really need to get a process in place. Again, we've used the word fiduciary a lot in this podcast, but that management of your plan is paramount this day and age. We have a very litigious society. And again, if you read any of the information out there on retirement plans, there's a lot of lawsuits flying around. And that goes back to having this process and procedures in place. And to add to that, if you're unlucky enough to receive a DOL audit, one of their primary focuses in that audit is to see if you have this clearly defined process every part of your retirement plan. So, in other words, things like, do you submit your employee deferrals or contributions on a regular, consistent basis? Are you having annual plan reviews to make sure your expenses are reasonable, to make sure you have a clear process in place for education and these other items? Do you have an investment policy statement, which is basically the business plan for your retirement plan? It tells how things are going to occur over the course of a year and how you make decisions about your retirement plan. So there's just a few of the items that you have to be concerned with, but you've got to have this process in place so everyone knows, from your employees to your executive committee to your owner, how that plan is going to be run.
What's the best way for them to get in contact with you, Carl?
You can go to our website, which is jacobsandcoolidge.com, or you can call us directly at 912-265-2876.
Any closing thoughts or anything else you want to say to everybody before we wrap up today's podcast?
I think I've covered it. I just, again, take time to really focus on that plan. Make sure it's the best for your employees. Make sure it's the best for you if you're in an owner role or a executive role. It gets pushed to the back burner a lot of times because everybody's dealing with the normal fires of a business every day. But this is important, and as I said earlier, it really will help your organization run more smoothly if this is one less concern that you have to worry about.
If you have not subscribed to the podcast yet, make sure that you do by clicking the subscribe now button below. Also, if anything that Carl just said really kind of got your attention, don't just share this with your friends and family, but also share it with business owners that you know, because having a secure process, having a real process, is what a fiduciary standard is meant to be. And also make sure, if you ask your financial services professional one question, that one question should always be, are you a fiduciary? And prove to me how you are a fiduciary. And with that, for Carl Coolidge and Russell Jacobs and everybody at Jacobs Coolidge, this is Matt Halloran. We'll see you on the other side of the mic very soon.
The content is developed from sources believed to be providing accurate information. The information in this material is not intended as tax or legal advice. Please consult legal or tax professionals for specific information regarding your individual situation. The opinions expressed and material provided are for general information and should not be considered a solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security. Russell C. Jacobs III, Carl B. Coolidge, James Jacobs, and William Schwartz are registered representatives of and offer securities, investment advisory, and financial planning services through MML Investor Services, LLC, member SIPC, Supervisory Office, Jacksonville, Florida. Jacobs Coolidge Company, LLC is not a subsidiary or affiliate of MML Investor Services, LLC, or its affiliated companies.